Hello, sisters. Oh my God. I'm so happy to be talking to you guys again. I am so excited. I have so many things good in store for us. First, I want to thank you all for allowing me to take this time to get myself together, heal, deal with my grieving, losing family members back to back. Thank you guys for taking the time out for allowing me to just get my stuff together. And I was worried that when I came back, I was going to have some members that's gone, but I came back and we actually have 3 new members. I want to just shout you out. Thank you so much for joining Women of Courage. Ebony Thomas, Micaiah Martin, and Tiana Dunn. And thank you ladies so much for joining the sisterhood. That warms my heart. That shows me that we are all in this together, into loving and growing and with each other. So I really appreciate you guys. And thank you so much for allowing me to take this time out. So I really want to talk to you about my reasoning of why I had to take a sabbatical from Women of Courage. As you all know, I had 2 deaths back to back in my family, and I didn't realize it until after the second death that it really took a toll on me. And for those of you who don't know my story about dealing with grieving and acknowledging it, back in 2007, my best friend was murdered, and I was there when they brought her body out the house. And it took me almost 13 years. No, she was murdered. 2 months later, my cousin was murdered. No, he was not murdered, but he was killed in a car crash. And in 2010, I lost 2 friends back to back, 4 months apart. And all while in between those times, I have been dealing with a lot of heartbreak. I have been dealing with money issues. I just was not a happy person. And it took all the way to 2021. No, I knew it in 2019 that I needed to seek therapy, and need to seek help, but I didn't know anybody, or I didn't know if I could afford it. I started going to my church, Rock City, in 2010, but I went in there as the broken vessel that I was. So I started getting help spiritually in that era, but I really needed help in the mental way, whereas not even knowing my therapist was going there when I first started going there. Like, God worked in so many mysterious ways. I met my therapist the year I started going to my church. Well, she wasn't a therapist then. She said she was in grad school at that moment. But by the time she became my therapist, she had been practicing over 10 years. So once she became my therapist in 2021, I was telling her everything that was going on with my life. And the last thing I told her was about my friend. She's like, tell me about that. And I told her all the story, and I told her everything that happened. She was like, Candace, you still grieving? I said, I think so, because the last 13 years, guys, had been complete and utter hell. When I tell you, you couldn't look at me because I had my hair done. I wore the makeup. I'm a hairstylist, so I was able to mask it on the outside, but on the inside, I was dealing with a lot. And she started putting me through these exercises, and we started talking about things that hurt, and it all started to help turn it around. And we're still in the process now of grieving, but these recent deaths, they triggered me, and it almost sent me back down that tunnel of lostness. It really did, without my permission. So what I want to talk to you today about is grief, giving you some pointers and some spirituals on how to deal with it, how to recognize it, how to deal with it while going through it, and how to overcome. So I hope you guys are ready. All right, here we go. First, I have, if you see me looking down, I have my notes. So I wanted to give like real content to what we're doing, what I'm talking about, grief. I looked up the Google definition of grief. Deep sorrow, especially that's caused by someone's death. Anything that disrupts or challenge our sense of normalcy or ourselves. This includes the loss of connections. Grief is a natural emotional response when you experience loss, going through a divorce, you experience intense sadness, and the feeling of shock and numbness. There are 7 stages: shock, denial, pain, guilt, anger, and bargaining, and acceptance. They also added the upturn of reconstruction, and then they added acceptance and hope. I also looked it up in the Bible because I'm always going to make sure I get like a biblical say on it to see what God says when it comes to grief. Psalms 34:18. The Lord is close to the brokenhearted, and He saves those who are crushed in spirit. He's offering a sense of security. Matthew 5:4. Bless those who mourn, for they will be comforted. That's His promise of comfort, and grief is not a punishment, but it's a state that leads to a greater blessing. That's what He was saying in Matthew 5:4. And I also have Revelations 21:4. He will wipe every tear from your eyes, and death shall be no more. Neither shall there be mourning, nor crying, nor pain anymore. For the former things have passed away. This was to depict a future where grief and pain will be no more, and offering a vision of hope and healing beyond your earthly limitations. So even though we know grief is inevitable, we can't run from it. God is offering hope and comfort in those times. And throughout my journey, that's exactly what I started finding, was the comfort and the hope throughout these deaths. So it took me 13 years to start getting help with the death of my best friend, Latricia. So I spoke at my aunt's funeral. God placed it on my heart to send a message to my family because I noticed a lot of people was talking about depression. I was hearing the words anxiety. I was hearing sadness, and it was just high blood pressure. Everybody was grieving. Everybody was grieving and mourning, and I know in my family, we don't have the right tools. We've never really went to therapy, or we never went to try to get help. We just always, my son just told me I love you. I love you too, people. Hold on, let me respond. I'm sorry, my son sent me a text and I had to respond to it. But yeah, and the message that I wanted to, what God wanted me to tell him, like, it's going to be okay. You can't see it in a moment. All you see is red. All you see is darkness. All you feel is pain. Because that new normal of not having that person with you when you're so used to having this person in your life, that's a loss. That's a grief. Even if it's death or divorce, losing someone, somebody walking out of your life, any type of loss is a grief. And not having people around to help you through it, it can easily help you, and you try to control it yourself. My way of trying to deal with it when I lost my best friend was I started partying a lot because I already love to dance, so everybody know that. But I started partying, drinking, smoking weed. I already smoked weed. That wasn't an issue. I started taking pills. By the time I was back in 2010, by the time I got into beauty school, I was taking Lortabs because weed wasn't even doing it. And I just started finding comfort in men. And all I was doing was just putting myself down in a deeper, deeper, deeper hole. So by 2010, from 2007 to 2010, that's when the suicidal thoughts started coming. And I would have these thoughts, and I would think about, well, God, this is how I try to play God. Because I don't want to die, but I definitely don't want to be here. So, God, if I go to sleep and you don't wake me up, I'll be okay with that. You took me. I didn't kill myself. You did it, da, da, da. Trying to play God. But I was hurting. And I didn't even understand what I was going through at the time. I couldn't call it. I just knew I needed some help. That took me on a journey, like, as right. I think I had those thoughts a few times, but what would knock me out of those thoughts, who's gonna take care of your son? Yes, like, who's gonna take care of Cameron? Who was going, like, my mom was gonna get him. She was gonna make sure he was dressed nice. I know she was gonna take care of him. She was gonna make sure he's fed, but who's gonna be there to love on him and raise him and go to all his football games, make sure he gets to all his after school activities and just love on him and really raise him. God said, you're the only one that can do that. So that would knock me out of those thoughts real quick. But the fact that I was actually having those thoughts, suicide thoughts of not wanting to be here, because I felt like my life was just falling apart. Still not connecting this to deaths from 2007 and 8. And all of this happened in 2010, and I lost two more friends into 2010, 4 months apart, brothers. They were brothers. They were both murdered 4 months apart. So you can only imagine where my mental state was. So I decided I needed some help. But I didn't know it was help at the time. I just needed something. So I remember one Sunday I was gonna go to my old church, to Shiloh, where I was, one church I grew up in, and I was happy to see them. It was a nice church, but what I'm looking for, I didn't get it. So the very next Sunday I went to my mom's church, First Baptist Kingston, and I was like, okay, Tia Miller, you just gonna sing me to death. What I'm looking for, I didn't get it. Now keep in mind, I don't know what I'm looking for this time. I can tell you now it was help, but back then I just kept saying to myself, I just need something. So that next Sunday, this was back to back. That third Sunday, I went to my cousin's church. He has a small ministry in Bessemer. And I was like, okay, yeah, it was cool, but I'm not driving out in Bessemer every week. So that same week, I'm coming home from beauty school, and I see a big, huge sign saying The Rock Church. And it's like literally right behind my apartment building. Whereas, like, you literally have to go through the apartments to get to the church. So every day, I've been getting up, going to school, living my life, didn't even know the church was right there. And I asked my friend who we were living together, because it was a whole toxic situation where I was living. I was with somebody who cheated on me. I was so broken. Oh my God. But I was fighting with my mom at home, so I didn't want to live there. So living here was better than living at the house with my mom, but I didn't have my son living there. I let him stay with my mom. But it was really toxic. But I told her, I said, did you know this church was here? She was like, yeah, I didn't be in and joined and everything. I was like, really? Why didn't you tell me? She was like, I didn't know. Well, she didn't. She didn't know I was looking for a church. She didn't know I was looking for a church home. They had Bible studies on Tuesday, and I was there. And just from that Bible study, I knew whatever I was looking for, I'm going to find it here. So I've been going there 15 years later, and it's still filling my spirit. So come see us at Rock City, Pastor Mike Jr. It was a journey, because even when I started going to church, even though I was being filled, my cup was being filled spiritually, I still had to go walk this out physically and mentally. So it still took me a long time. I moved around. I moved from Birmingham to Huntsville to Texas. I lived in Atlanta. I was chasing money. I was getting evicted. Cameron's seen a lot. The fact that he has become this amazing, amazing man that he is today, it shocks the mess out of me, because he could have went totally the other way. But I did try to hide it. Like I said, I would not cry in front of him. But once in middle school, I was getting tattoos. He finally told me, he was like, Mom, you know, every time you say you get a tattoo. That's when I had my tattoo artist to come to the house, and that's how I ended up with my sleeve. So my sleeve has a story. I let the tattoo artist come to the house, and I wanted him just to add some background to just connect it all, because I just had butterflies all over down my arm. And the significance of my butterflies was during my grieving time, my high energy grieving time. I wanted to cut myself, and I saw it on television. It was just you really do feel like a big balloon full of pressure that just needs some release. And I always used to know that I'm going to come out of this. So instead of getting a razor blade and slicing my arm, I would just go get a butterfly. And I don't want to get naked on you, but that was the first one. I already had this one. So this was the first one. Then I ended up getting some more, and it was so crazy because at the time God had me dating a tattoo artist. Shout out to Sherman. I was dating a tattoo artist at the time. God is so funny. Like, he know what I need in that moment when I need it. You feel me? And I was dating a tattoo artist, so I didn't even really have to pay for a lot of these. I still used to get him money, but he would give me those tattoos, and when I used to get them, they didn't even hurt. I promise you, in my mind, it was a mental, like, when he put the needle to the skin, it was like, but that pain would return because that's not fixing it. And I always knew when I come out of it, I still had to do some work. And that's the origin of how I ended up with a sleeve. I knew if I got a butterfly, because I always knew I was going to come out of it. But I knew the story of a butterfly. It started as a caterpillar. It go into this dark phase. And when it goes into this dark phase, it comes out a beautiful butterfly. And I always saw myself as such. But I was in that cocoon phase, darkness. And I didn't know what to do. I didn't have no help. But like I said, I met my therapist in 2010. Now, just a few years later, and I'm hitting 30 because I was dating my tattoo artist when I turned 30. Yeah. And I was dark. And I really do feel like we ended our relationship. And we still friends to this day. It was a mutual ending. I continued with the journey. 2015, I started having anxiety attacks. I was living in Huntsville. I was having spiritual attacks. This grief was turning into, it has already turned into depression. It had already turned into anxiety. I had my first anxiety attack driving. I had to pull over because I didn't know what was going on with me. But at this time, I wasn't sleeping. I would literally be up 24 hours a day. Brain just running. Worried about everything. Stressing about everything. Money. Paying my bills. My son. I'm talking about anything that could be stressful or worried about. I was worried about it. And that was at the time where my auntie Pal was passing away. She was cancer. Her daughter is actually the one that just passed away of breast cancer. But I was going through that then. Having to drive back and forth from Huntsville to Birmingham because they kept calling the family in to say our goodbyes. My auntie Pal was fighting. She was not ready to go. Just like Ashley fought. But all of that, unbeknownst, because when we go to funerals, we cry, we be sad, we go to repast, and we move on with our lives. But we don't know that that grief sits in there, and if you do not address it, it will blow your life up like it was doing me if you let it. 2021, fast forward to 2021, I had a client that was doing therapy on the app. And I was, I looked it up. Excuse me. I went to my dad that morning, and I called my dad, and I said, I think I've done all I can do. Because by 2020, I decided that I wanted to start healing. That was during COVID. So I started doing things. I started eating better. I said, I'm going to go dancing once a month. I said I was going to I started wearing bright colors. I didn't even realize it. For Mother's Day, I had ordered me this pretty orange dress from Fashion Nova or somewhere. But that was the first time I realized I got I got on a bright color, because I had been wearing browns, blacks. Being a cosmetology, it was easy to get away with wearing black all the time. But I was really sad. I haven't even been wearing any bright colors. My sister had bought two dresses, a purple and a yellow maxi dress, and she gave them to me. She bought them for me. She didn't even understand that she was helping me. I was coming out of the. It shocked me that I had on these bright colored dresses, because I had been dealing with death. I didn't even realize I was wearing dark colors for years. I went to my friend's house, the one who was murdered. That was my first time being there. Since the night they brought her body out, I did not want to go there anymore. Her brother moved in. He ended up getting it fixed back up because he burned the house. He tried to burn her up in it, but she didn't burn. And the house, it burned, but it wasn't like, it was fixable. So her brother had it fixed up. He still lives in it today. And he used to invite me and my friend Akia to the house, and I would never go. We lived in Midfield. She lived in Harrytown. I used to pass her street I passed her street for years and would not go. Going to Walmart every day. I think about it. If I turn right there, go to Trish House, but I would never go. So in 2020, I decided I'm going to go. I want to get healed, and I'm going to start facing this. So I went to her house. I didn't go in it, but I just parked. I texted him and let him know, hey, this is me sitting outside, so he didn't think it was just a stranger sitting out. But he was like, obviously, he saw me on the camera. He said, I see you. He said, I see you. And he didn't question me. He didn't say anything. He knew while I was there. He knew why I was there. So that was my first time being there since 2007, and it's 2020. So fast forward to 2021, I was at the Chevron gas station pumping gas, and I'm talking to my daddy, and I was like, Dad, I think I've done all that I can on my own. It's time to bring in help. And I asked him, would he help me pay for a therapist? And he said yes right away, no questions asked. And like I said, I was thinking about the app because I saw my friend BetterHelp. If y'all don't know about it, BetterHelp. It's an app of therapy. You can, and this is not a plug. This is not sponsorship or anything. But you can go on there. You can pick out your race. You can pick out your sex. You can pick out. You can go through. If you don't like this one, you can leave them and go without no penalties. All that. So if you're needing for therapy, BetterHelp. I would try that one. Okay, I would try BetterHelp. So as soon as my dad said that, I made a status in the women's group. I don't know if you guys remember it, but I said something about dealing with anxiety, and everybody started coming and everybody started talking about it. And Chandrika, my client, my therapist, I'm her client. She my client too because I do her hair. But Chandrika, shout out to Chandrika, she made a statement, a comment, but I don't remember the comment. I just remember her saying hashtag just a therapist's opinion. Oh, wait a minute, Chandrika a therapist? Because you gotta understand, I met her in 2010 at church, and I didn't know she was a therapist. But like I said, she told me she had been she was in grad school when we first met to become a therapist. Now here it is, 2021. She's literally been practicing 10, 11 years in therapy. So I said, what's up? I said, can I slid in her DM? Man, I just told my dad that I needed help with a therapist and he was going to help me pay. How much you charge and blah, blah, blah. She said, what's going on, Candace? And we sat there and we talked about everything, and she's been my therapist ever since. And she really put me through it. She really put me through the work and of uncovering everything that's swept up under the rug. And I was also not just grieving my best friend death, I was grieving my childhood. I had so much grief on me. And it was, you know how you sweep everything under the rug? My rug was busting, my pipe was bursting, everything was bursting around me. And I didn't want to do that because I wanted to live. And I wanted to be here for my son. And I just took the journey. That's how I came up with Women of Courage. And it was a process. It was not easy. But because I had the determination to want to get through it. I don't want to forget my friend. I wanted to stop crying on her birthday. Because everybody know me and Trisha, my birthday the 15th, her birthday the very next day, the 16th, May 15th, May 16th. And I'll be celebrating my birthday, and by midnight I'm crying, I'm booing, I'm drinking because I was sad. So now on her birthdays, I celebrate because my friend is still with me. I had everybody was saying that they had the dream. Like my cousin said, she had the dream when our Alex was killed in a car crash. She came to her, so it felt like everybody had closure but me. And then I finally ended up having a dream like 3 years ago, 2 to 3 years ago. She came to me, and I started crying. It didn't look like her. She looked like an old lady with her hair with some braids going to the back, but it was her because when she started talking, it was her. She's like, "Friend, what you crying for? What you crying for?" Because Trisha talk fast. I said, "Because I miss you and you haven't been here and blah, blah, blah." And I was just gone. And she said, "I'm okay. Friend, I'm okay. I promise you, I'm okay." She was talking fast. Like, and that was it. We would sit on the porch. This, I was woken up. And that's probably all my spirit needed to know was my friend is okay. Now it's okay for me to go and heal, because that really put the battery in my back to start living and healing forward. I live with so much guilt. I live with guilt. I live with so much grief, and I had that therapist that kept unpacking. And please believe, I'm being honest with you, it was not easy, because imagine unpacking that, healing. Your dim light is starting to shine bright. So now other people are starting to get irritated by your light. Family members hurting you because you're not crying anymore. You're not sad anymore. So that's a whole nother video. But when you start to heal from that grief, take your time. My therapist always say it takes 5 years. It took me 13. I feel like it's for individuals. It's depending on that person, how long you want to be in it. Once you go through and you get to a stage where you can be like, okay, that's it. That was me in 2020. I want to get, because I'm tired of my life, because it really affected my life. And I started reading books. I started watching podcasts. I started reading the Bibles. I was talking to my therapist. I was talking to anybody that would listen. I was talking to people. I was really doing the work to get the grief. It's a journey, because there's a lot of people that really loved you and loved me when I was in my downtime, when I was in my sad space. Like, I'm really in a happy place now, but I was triggered. Losing 2 people back to back, I was triggered. And I felt myself going down there. I left my auntie house the day she passed. I left her house because my cousin stayed on the same side of town of an ex of mine that I didn't block and didn't want to talk. I was calling him. I unblocked him and called him. My therapist said, "Why did you call him? Why did you unblock that man?" I said, "Because I was sad. And I just needed to lay my head," I'm being honest, I just needed to lay my head in somebody's chest. And yes, it was a big mistake unblocking him, so he's back unblocked. But I was sad, and I was drinking, and I had a friend that I was talking to. He prayed with me. I called him. I ain't had no business calling him either. But I just wanted to cry and just lay my head in somebody's chest. Because we just buried Ashley. Now we finna bury my auntie. And I was sad for my cousins losing their mom. I don't know what that type of hurt feel like. And it really triggered me. And I didn't have anything to give you guys. That's why I had to come off. But I wanted to let you know that the reason why, and I didn't want you to think that I was just not posting or not showing up, but I was really going through it. But I had to catch myself. I felt myself going down, but I had to catch myself. I called my therapist. I was calling her, even outside of my regular appointment times, and she was talking me through it. I think we talked like 3 times. In a week, she was helping me through it, and it's like I had to catch my footing. Don't go back down in that state. Remember where it was. It was a dark, lonely place. You've been through this. Now tell a friend, tell a friend. Go on Women of Courage and tell a friend. And I'm going to tell my cousins, and I'm telling everybody who's lost someone. It hurts like hell. Take your time, but know that, like God said in Matthew, no, that was Revelation, it's going to come out on the end. You're going to come out of it on the end. I made this video because I let Women of Courage know you guys do not have to go through it by yourself. That's why I started Women of Courage. That was during my healing time. I needed a big sister. I needed a sister to talk to. And that's what this page. I feel like I went through it so I can be able to share it to you, for those who don't believe in therapy, for those who don't believe in communicating and talking to someone. Get with your pastor, get with someone you trust, get with someone in your church you trust. Find a therapist. Like I said, BetterHelp on the app. You can do it anywhere you are, in your home, in your car. You can do it from wherever. You can reach out. Don't just sit in it by yourself. Women of Courage is for that. That's why it's a block page. That's why it's private. What goes on in this group stays in this group. And you don't have to go through it alone. I went through it alone, but God sent someone for me, sent some people to help, and I'm letting you know this is a platform for help. I want to end this with I was watching a TED Talk about grief, and the young lady she didn't know who wrote it, but it was a quote, and I want to read it to you. But it's from TED Talk, and it's an unknown person who said it. Grief is the last act of love. Last we can give to the ones we love. Where there is deep grief, there was great love. It's a sacred rite of passage and should be treated as such. It is a hero's journey, filled with deep, dark sorrows, messy twists and turns, courageous battles, love, joy, and unexpected surprises. Through the darkness of grief, we see the light of love which transcends death. And with all the pain that grief brings, it can also bring us gratitude. But a gift of time we have with our loved ones, and for the pain which we endure over and over again, because that pain results of loving someone so much, it hurts to let them go. It hurts to let that person go, and getting into that new normalcy of that person not being there. You're used to picking up the phone and calling. I'm used to going through stuff with other friends and calling Trisha, and my friend Trisha like, fuck them. You got a friend, excuse my language, but I'm here. And I remember the time that I was about to do it, and I caught myself, and I couldn't call her, and I broke down crying because that was my friend. But I still can talk to her. She's with me today. I can still call on her, and she's like, hey friend, what you doing? Girl, I can hear. Girl, I gotta put more on you than you can bear. That's all every time I call her, she will say that. That's all about her. I thought that's all about her is my friend. But it worked. God, I gotta put more on you than you can bear, Candace. And she talked real fast. And I carried it. God is not gonna put more on you than you can bear. It seems so hard while you're going through it now. But I promise you, if you stick to it and you take control of it, don't let it take control of you. You grab that grief by the horns like a bull. You grab that bull by the horns and you wrestle it down. You first pray to God that I want to get through this. And you take your time in it. And you do it on your time. Don't let nobody rush you. Don't let nobody tell you to move on. Don't let nobody tell you to forget. If somebody tell you to do that, send them to me. But you know for yourself how fast you want to come out of it. You set that time. You set that timer. But you have a friend and a sister in me, and in Women of Courage. You do not have to go through it alone. I will hold your hand. We can hold each other's hands and walk on through this together. So, I hope that helped. And I'm going to be doing videos once a week. I'm dropping it today and Friday because I had to hurry up and get this off me, but I will be dropping videos every Monday. And I have a new event coming up June 22nd. I will give you the information as it comes, and I'll drop the flyer, but get ready. We're going to have us a good time. And I can't wait to see you guys in person. It's coming June 22nd, so go ahead and save the date. June 22nd, okay? We're getting together, and we're going to have us a good time. I love you, ladies. I can't wait to see you. You know we got a new logo. You see our new logo? We got a new logo and a new attitude. We are growing. I love you, ladies. See you soon.